welcome everybody who's been watching. I'm here with my co-host, Manny Cabrera.
Yes, sir. Good to see you. It's been a couple hours.
It's been like 12 hours since we filmed. And really excited today to do something a little bit different. For the people that have been watching, we've done a lot of music, guests. We also did Jonathan Zaragoza from, AKA Goat Boy, TikTok, YouTube. So doing someone in the culinary world, being someone that loves sports, all sports, especially football, boxing, baseball, basketball, you were able to tap into your friendships through Quintafina, your Rolodex of athletes, and get a Chicago star, Giovanni Cabrera. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Of course.
How did we get here? How did this relationship begin, Manny?
Well, yeah, I like to, yesterday, Dave, you and I talked about how, we got to stop telling them how we met our guests because nobody gives a shit. Because it usually ends up being the first 10 minutes of we met you. But I have a cool story of how I met Gio for the first time. And I think it's a good lesson for a lot of other up-and-coming fighters and anything you want to do in life. When I first met Gio, it was at a house party in Chicago. And I think it was probably Humble Park. I don't remember where it was. And we were all I was hanging out with my peoples, and then this guy walks up and he's shadow boxing, and he's like, "I'm gonna be champ of the world, and I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna fight the best of the best." And he was just talking and talking. I'm like, "Oh," and I'm a big boxing fan, so I'm like, "Oh, that's cool," but who, what do you fight or?
Yeah.
And he was telling me "Oh, I'm gonna be a champ. I'm gonna be pro. I'm gonna go pro." I'm not sure if you were pro at that time or not. I think you might have just became pro or something.
Just turned.
So this is, you're talking over a decade ago.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, it was house party, back in my party days. So I was like, man, this guy is really confident. Talks a lot, He's really confident. So fast forward, I had never seen him again for another fast forward. We were talking about the Gabriel Flores fight. We'll get into in a bit, which was a huge upset in the boxing world. I was like, wait, where the fuck have I seen this guy before?
As you're watching the fight?
As I watched the fight, because that was a huge upset.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, that sounds familiar. And I saw the last name. My last name is Cabrera. So I'm like, and he had the Chicago Stars on his shorts. I'm like, wait, this is where have I seen this guy before?
Yeah.
I looked him up and I was like, that's the guy that I met at the house party years ago.
This cocky kid, fucking shadow boxing people, drinking beers.
And I just think it's crazy how he knew it at that time.
Yeah.
He had a goal already. He knew where he was going. And to see him at that level, I was like, holy shit, he fucking made it to the at that level. And once he got that upset, in my opinion, that's kind of where took you to the next level.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
No, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it signing with Top Rank for me, especially, was insane. I had been after sparring with Manny Pacquiao. I arrived in LA on my birthday of 2021, July 19th, right? 2 days later, I'm sparring Manny Pacquiao. He hires me for camp, and I'm getting $1,000 a week in my pocket. I'm spending it by the end of the week, every week for 6 weeks in LA, going crazy, running around Hollywood, saying, "Hey, I'm training with Freddie Roach. I'm training with, I'm sparring Manny Pacquiao, one of my personal legends, heroes, icons. He's one of the big reasons that I got into boxing. Watching him in 2009 versus Miguel Cotto at a friend's basement,
Yeah.
Boom, oh shit! Everybody was, just clamoring about this guy Pacquiao. He's this little Filipino dude, and I was like, the way that they're looking at him, there was something magnetic about it, and I was like, I want to be like that. I want to be like him. So yeah, it's just crazy, I went there, I did the whole thing. So I got with Top Rank, and then Top Rank, I had 3 straight wins on ESPN with Freddie. The first fight on Top Rank was insane because, I'd been partying my ass off during the pandemic. There was nothing, there was nothing to do, we were trying to figure it all out. I just fired my trainers and my managers. So, I'd been partying my ass off. I was out of shape, and I didn't make weight for that first fight with Top Rank. Now, this is my dream promotion, and I'm fighting on ESPN in the very first fight. I'm the opening fight. I wasn't going to make a lot of money, but I didn't make weight, Turns out the main event, he didn't make weight.
Oh.
So my purse doubles, and then I go to be the main event. And so they come up to me, my manager's at the time, Stephen Fader, he says, look at this. they want you to fight this guy. Hey, man, you know, I don't know if you want to do it or not. Like, you know, I don't know. You don't have to do this.
How far in advance would the fight be from that moment when he told you, do you want to fight this guy? Like, are you talking
in the dressing room? In the dressing room.
It's that night?
Yeah, that day. That day. And, that day in the hotel room, actually. And so on the way, we already know it's this guy, but they showed me the video, and I'm like, that looks all right. You know, I was like, Freddie, what do you think? Do you think we could beat this guy? And he says, he's like, yeah, man, just be careful. But yeah, we could take him. Had I finished watching that video, that he knocks out the guy. You know, I didn't finish watching it. That's how fucking lazy I am.
Yeah.
But he knocks out a U.S. Olympian, Carlos Balderas. The guy was named Rene Giron. Rene Giron, Mexican, like standout. You know, really, really good technical fighter. He had just knocked out a U.S. Olympian guy, and I was just like, yeah, come on. And I took him to school. I boxed him, and. Yeah, they set me up with another guy after that to lose to this Argentinian tough guy. Same, outboxed them. And then finally, they're like, man, they're tired. They were fucking tired of me. You know, that was a problem maker. I didn't.
Who was tired?
Top rank.
Okay.
Because, you know, one, I didn't like follow the rules properly the first time. It kind of just catapulted me better. And it just worked out for me.
You failed upward. What is it? When you,
yeah. Fuck.
I'm very lucky, man. I'm very lucky how things kind of snowball. But that happened, you know, and they're like, you know what, we got to get our money out of this kid. He just beat two of our guys.
Yeah.
Let's put him in there with Gabriel Flores. Now, he was the youngest fighter to ever sign a promotional contract. So I was like, you know what, I've made my name on beating undefeated guys. I just want to smoke. Let's go. And we were in the casino for that fight. And, you know, I hate seeing, I don't like to talk a lot of shit unless, you know, the guy's talking shit to me, and then I like to make some jokes. But, like, for the most part, I'm not trying to intimidate or, like, bother the fucking guy. Right. Everything that we're going to do to each other.
You're saying if you see them outside of, like, the promotion or, like, the ring and all that, right?
Yeah, but this guy.
You're running into this guy. And
yeah. So, but I hate that uncomfortable kind of, like, back and forth little thing that, you know, fighters like to do. He sees Freddie Roach. And I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to talk to him. And so I let him talk. And he goes up to Freddie, and he's like, blah, blah, blah. And then he looks at me, and he's just like kind of giving me like this weird side eye. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
Why is this guy fucking looking at me like that? Like, it was, you know, I don't know. Maybe he fell in love with me. No, I'm just kidding. No, but he was looking at me weird, you know? And I was just like, God, I don't like his vibe. And I go to Freddie, what do you say? He says to me that, he says, Mr. Roach, I'm going to knock your fighter the fuck out. I was like, what? The disrespect on this fucking kid. Yeah. It's like you're meeting Freddie Roach for the first time. Say, I don't know. Hi, Mr. Roach. Pleasure to meet you. You know, good luck tomorrow. He just came up like that and disrespected me and my trainer, who's a Hall of Fame legend. That really kind of pissed me off.
Sure.
At the weigh-in, I'm suited up. I'm looking good, man. And, you know, he's, you know, very like a kid, you know, dressed.
How old is he at this time? You said he was the youngest guy signed?
Yeah, I think he was like 22 or 21 or something. But yeah.
So you guys are at the weigh-in. You're
and
all
he goes
up.
to shake my hand. Oh no, I go to shake his hand. I go to shake his hand, and he doesn't shake my hand. I'm just like, I just laugh at him and walk away.
Yeah.
It went fucking viral everywhere. It went crazy. People were like, "Oh, kick this guy's ass," blah blah blah.
Yeah, he was straight up disrespectful. I mean, you went up to shake his hand, good luck, and he was just like,
is this guy Mexican American or like from Mexico?
Mexican American.
Okay,
from the Bay. From the Bay.
So
he Stockton.
He was just
no. Listen, this kid, he was the one. He's one of the ones they were pushing up.
Yeah.
You know, they're really putting a lot of money behind this kid. He was one of the ones that they were gonna try to get to the next level. You know, so they put him up against Gio, suited up, trying to shake his hand, trying to be cool and
just a gentleman.
Straight up,
yeah. And so then leading up for this conversation, I watched a lot of your videos, and Manny had told me a lot about it. That was the first video I saw. And I do remember like inklings of that back in the day. It was like 4 years ago, probably. Mm-hmm. And so I watched it last night, and then I watched it this morning with my kids too. And it's like, in 7 seconds, you hit him with a straight left and just fucking put him on his ass, which had to be like the best feeling.
How does that feel? Yeah, like just landing a punch and seeing the guy just drop.
You're like, it's like green light. It's like that. That's a crazy feeling. You do feel like you feel like a warrior in the Coliseum. You know, you get that, and like we say, colmillo. You know, that taste for blood. That that makes you want to finish a guy.
Yeah, I saw I was watching you because that's interesting for me too. Because like getting hyped or getting too over amped sometimes, can go south.
Yeah.
And I watch you and you're fucking like dead focused and you're like, but you could tell like there's blood in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And then you sit him again in like a minute and a half later.
Yeah. What goes through your head when you see him drop the first time? How do you keep yourself from like fucking throwing your hands up and all, like, I guess overreacting, because it is also energy you have to kind of conserve and all that, right? So what's going through your head and when you see him drop on the floor for the first time, and now you're in the corner, the referee is counting.
Well, I know that he already thinks he's losing the fight. So you're mine, dude. Whatever you do, you're just kept playing catch up now. So I can take my time with you. I know that you're gonna be a little bit more desperate. I know that you're gonna take chances that you normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
And if I get you to trade more because you want to show that you're tough, then
And you're processing that, Gio, like in real time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's everything. It's a full reading of body language, energy, the crowd, ring generalship, your positioning, your posturing. Do I look tired? And what am I projecting to the other guy? Sometimes, a guy could be hurt and he's coming forward like Rocky Balboa.
Right.
You have no clue.
And you got to be like, what the fuck is wrong? I just tagged this motherfucker and he's coming at me.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's actually a very interesting perspective to kind of see it that way. You're also kind of like, almost like poker. You don't want to show your reaction.
Exactly.
You want to have a stone face. And
there's guys that play possum. There's guys that start really strong and then fizzle out. Like my last fight with Zepeda. I had trouble making weight. I wasn't really in a position. I wasn't really focused in that time for that fight versus such a high caliber opponent. And it was kind of obvious in the beginning. I came out. I showed that I had the athleticism and strength to do things, but the whole preparation kind of wasn't really there for that. The weight cut was bad. And it just kind of, but you could see a little glimpse of like what I can do. And, now I'm ready to win, man. I'm ready to fucking win. I put in the work. I decided to, after that Zepeda loss, I said, you know what, I need to switch something up. I love Freddie Roach. To me, he's a mentor, all-time badass, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect for Freddie. But sometimes you just want to try something else. And I'm a man who's not afraid to put it all on the line, to risk it all, and to reinvent himself constantly. So I said, you know what? I always bet on me. I'm gonna try to figure it out. So I went to go train with the next best thing that I thought, Justin Fortune, who was Manny Pacquiao's strength and conditioning trainer for most of the heyday with Freddie. I was like, I'm gonna get in Pacquiao kind of shape with this guy.
Yeah.
So I started training, and right around that time, it was tough, because walking away from the limelight of being in Hollywood, being a Freddie Roach fighter, then going with Justin, I had to deal. I'm like a B-side kind of guy in Hollywood now, which is not what I'm used to after having had that like initial success. At that time, the LA riots and protests started to happen, and I was there on the front lines, because of his immigration and standing up for our people, and then this crazy time is something that I'm very passionate about. And we're all immigrants,
Yeah.
Nobody in this nobody, unless you're Native American, you're not from here originally.
Yeah.
So I think it's what makes this country great. And anybody with a voice, especially athletes and fighters, and these whole industries that are built on the back of immigrants. We have to say something about it. And everybody in boxing just kind of it's like we are literally like every struggling immigrant class of its era are the best fighters, and Mexicans are clear evidence of that.
Yeah.
And for an industry that's run by Mexicans who we're pretty quiet about it.
Who consumes the pay-per-views?
Exactly.
Boxing's ingrained in Mexican culture. Canelo, Julio Cesar Chavez, Marquez, Barrera.
Yeah.
Like, it's ingrained in us. And so that's a good point that you were out in California and you're seeing all this stuff with the riots and everything, where it's like, that is a sport that is predominantly Hispanic and Mexican.
Where's Oscar De La Hoya? Where I mean, just any little sign to say, we have your back, we're in solidarity. And, I didn't find that. As a matter of fact, I got kicked out of the gym. They said, hey, man, you're at the fucking protest. You're saying fuck Trump, different things like that. And I didn't even really say that, but they saw me up. Although
you went to the protest.
I went to the protest. I was there, man, and for a couple of days, in the thick of it,
how was that being in the front lines?
It was scary, man. Because you always think back to the times of like the 70s and like the civil rights movement, and one of my great icon heroes is Ali. And I really love the kind of man that he was, and he really helped change the political tide for Vietnam. Just a champion of human rights. You know? And that's the kind of person that I would think that if there was a time ever where our turn was called to at least say anything, I think I just couldn't sit there and not do anything. I'd feel like a coward to my own story, And we went, and I was there on the front lines, man. We were holding the line, and these cops looked a little bit different. They look like like military people. I've seen a cop right here. He looks like a regular dude. Like these guys have like hardened faces, and we're I was like these guys. And I remember they started to walk the line down a little bit, and one guy held his hand. The cop brings out his baton. Boom! Starts hitting the guy. All of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. They start shooting with rubber bullets. The guy next to me got shot in the jaw and was bleeding everywhere.
And this is where you're in camp at this point when the riots were...
I'm in camp for Abdullah Mason.
Okay, so you're in camp. So then you go back to your gym.
I come back to the gym and they say,
"What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, what are you doing now? If you're gonna do that political bullshit, get the fuck out of here. You could go back to Wildcard with that shit. Don't you fucking bring that here. And I was like, all right, well, go fuck yourself. And I left. I decided to walk away from LA, and the main hub for boxing in the US, and start completely over. I came back and I remembered my brother actually had recommended that I talk to Coach Shears. He had a fighter named Alex Martin, who growing up we all thought was like the best guy around here. He was an Olympic alternate, and I grew up seeing him as like the older cool guy, fighting in the Golden Gloves and shit. So we always kind of were like, oh yeah, Alex and Coach Cheers. So when I won the Golden Gloves, he was the trainer for the national Golden Gloves team, and I always liked his vibe. He seemed like a pure spirit. So when I came back, I called Coach Cheers, and we started working, and right away, man, it's very cool when you meet a guy like that who's dedicated to himself, to trouble youth, and like for so long, and just waiting for an opportunity to have a fighter like me. And his dedication and he gets excited when we land a good combination. He's like, "Oh shit, no, try this, man! Like fucking do this, do that." It's like it's like a NASCAR driver seeing how far he can drive this vehicle. And like when
so he's pushing you.
So he's pushing me. It's very complimentary to my style. I've always fought more like a black fighter. Great footwork, jabs, reflexes, hands down. Well,
we were talking earlier when I got to meet you. We're sitting in Melrose Park back in the, I would say probably in the 80s, Eric. It's when Louis Lamelli was a 90s, I mean, that's when I was born in the 80s, but it was
born yet.
80s. Whoa.
But the big hype, I remember when I was a kid, I mean, we'd always watch boxing. But when I was young, I remember my dad and all of his buddies would get together right across the street where we lived, and they would watch fights on, it was just, regular HBO or whatever TV would be on. Mm-hmm. But then at that time, there was a fighter from Melrose Park, and his family's from Jalisco, where we're near where we're from. They're from Ocotlan, and his name was Louis Lamelli. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about, he got to a point where he got to be on the main card, and he got to fight Pernell Whitaker when Pernell Whitaker was at the top of his game. And we were talking, like you said, you fight like a black fighter, like Pernell Whitaker, like how elegant he was when he fought, and how smooth he was when he fought, and how he fucked people up. I mean, he fought Chavez once, right? And
that was a great fight.
Yeah, it was a really good fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What happened in that fight? Was it a tie, I think? It was something ridiculous.
Or did Whitaker win it?
I think he won. Pernell Whitaker won the fight.
Yeah.
Chavez was going on a campaign that he saying he won, but I mean, super slick fighter.
Yeah,
amazing
fight.
I got in trouble for watching that fight in school. Actually, in the computer lab, they didn't let us like stop streaming.
Majority draw.
But who won?
Majority draw.
I called it.
Although one judge scored it 115, 113 for Whitaker. The other two scored 115, 115.
Oh, so Chavez
highly
won.
Controversial.
No, draw.
Oh, it was a draw.
Draw.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he was putting on a clinic.
And Chavez had all the hype.
Two very different styles, obviously. But.
So we're talking a little bit like what's happened the last 5, 7, 8, 9 years with you. Mm-hmm. Give us a little bit of your backstory, Gio. You were born and raised here in Chicago?
Well, I'm from all over the place. It's hard to say like where I'm from because I'm from everywhere, man.
Yeah.
It's a classic American immigrant story. I was born in Seattle, Washington. I was raised between Seattle and Chicago till about age like 10. We'd move back every fourth. My dad was always moving around, having different jobs.
It's a big jump, Seattle. Yeah, did you have family in Seattle or?
No, just my dad. He made his way. He came to the country in the 90s, and he first went to California briefly, and then went straight to Seattle. He had some friends that were like living
here.
there.
Yeah, there's a big Mexican community up there too.
Like, vente, wey.
Yeah.
So he went over there, and yeah. So I was born there.
He met your mother there?
He met my mother there, and I have an older brother, one younger sister, and we were all born in Seattle. And we were raised, and we kept moving back and forth from León, Guanajuato to Seattle. My parents got separated when I was a little bit older, and we came to the south side. We lived in Canaryville and Bridgeport.
With your mom or with your dad?
With my mom.
Okay.
With my mom. So she had family here in Chicago. And that's really what got me into boxing. Being on the south side. León is a different beast. You're Mexican in León. Eres de barrio. Todos te conocen. Everybody knows you. Like you're family in the hood. But in Seattle, it's very progressive, kind of nice Canadian style, fucking grungy kind of people.
Yeah.
So I'm going from
Culture
to that.
shocks.
Then going to the south side in Canaryville, Bridgeport. Dude, they were fucking chewing my ass up, And eventually, I was kind of like bullied a little bit. I was bullied into, a gang, basically.
Yeah.
And at that time, my father came back in the picture, and we moved to the suburbs. And that was when I realized that, I wanted to learn how to fight. I'm like...
Was the decision to move to the suburbs one because they saw the path that you were kind of headed?
Well, yeah. Well, my dad he just wanted to move us out of of the city because I'm like a street kid. I love being on the street, like In León, I would play, but here it gets you in trouble, being on the street.
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of the environment was better for nice, quieter neighborhood in the suburbs. So my dad came, he kind of rescued my ass.
Yeah.
And I kind of never really fit in places because so many different cultures. I was still trying to be like a like a cool tough ghetto kid, when clearly I look like a fucking short Justin Bieber, like weird hybrid looking dude.
And I think I read your mom's not Mexican, right?
My mom's American Italian, yeah.
American Italian, born here. Were her parents immigrants?
We don't know too much about my mother's side of the family because I think they were just kind of scattered throughout.
Okay.
They lost in touch with each other,
so then they meet in Seattle. They come here. You're in the city for a little bit.
Let's say a little bit.
Get bullied a little bit into the gang life.
Yeah, I go to the burbs and I'm just kind of tired of everybody's bullshit, and I'm like, what better way to rebel against all authority than to become a boxer,
So how old are you when you're like made that decision?
16.
Oh shit! So you're already like coming into your body already. You're already like you kind of know you're sophomore, junior in high school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what was that first initial conversation? Who'd you talk to about like joining boxing?
Well, it was right around the time. I think it was like I was a freshman going into sophomore. I just started boxing when I was a sophomore, but around that time, like 2009, 2010, I had just seen that Pacquiao fight, and I was like, "Wow, this guy's incredible!"
Pacquiao versus Cotto.
Pacquiao versus Cotto, yeah, and that I started getting into boxing. I started getting into Rocky, obviously Rocky Balboa.
Yeah,
fucking one of the greatest masterpieces of all time. Was it like one of like best picture that year? Indie film, Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah,
come on, needs no explanation. But like that grit, that hunger to like be somebody, and like it was just so inspiring. It was magic.
Yeah,
it's like Lennox Lewis says, like boxing is magic. It gives strength to the weak, and like it can on the right night, if you train hard enough, if you prepare long enough, you can be the best in the world. And that's really what it gave me an identity, and it gave me power. I was like, if I align with that, then I vibrate with that, then I am that. So I started, going down the rabbit hole in boxing and looking at all the great legends, like, Ali, of course, that whole rabbit hole of Ali, man, just incredible. Everything that he stood for, just his style.
How were you in school? Were you good at like the academics part?
Hell no, man. I was a lazy kid, man. Some of the best sleep I've ever had to this day has been in math class.
The drool's like hanging out of your mouth. You're just like,
do something about those desks were just
dude.
No air conditioning in some of these high schools to fucking knock you out.
No, I mean, school for me, like I always like writing and reading and stuff. I like stories. I like stories.
I'm sure you were a social butterfly as well.
Yeah. Always talking too much. Not paying attention. I just did just enough.
Just to get by.
Yeah, just enough. But I knew it wasn't. I knew that I was gonna go out and do something different. I knew that it wasn't for me to be in this, kind of like this predictable path.
So now you're 16. You don't grow up like in and out of boxing gyms, right?
Right.
Your dad did your dad box at all, or
nobody boxed? It's just a pure Gio Cabrera original.
So when you told your dad, hey, I'm gonna be a fighter, what was his reaction?
Well, I wasn't really doing much at the time, so he's like, "Great, anything, fucking do something, man."
Yeah.
And then I started training, but they saw that, it was my escape. It was my escape, and I was going every day. First gym I was training in was in Summit, Illinois. Right off of
just south of here,
right over there. And I would go every day, and it was Argo Summit Boxing. Lou Taylor was my first trainer, and this guy Louis Taylor Jr. He runs the gym in Miami now. Awesome guy. They all taught me a lot about boxing. My first fight was at a BFW hall when I was 16, and I knocked the guy out in 10 seconds. I was like,
"You're like, who am I?"
I really do good
yeah.
So how quickly did you know then, Gio? Like, obviously you go there, you're training.
Right then,
at that moment,
right then and there. I knocked him out, man, and he was on the ground, and I had a surge like of my spirit, man. I had a surge of energy, and I was like, holy shit! I was like, I am a fighter. I'm a fighter. Yeah. Wow. Really cool, man.
And it was a BFW.
BFW, dude, and it was funny because
and that guy grew up to be Canelo now.
my mom always makes fun of this because I forgot my cup, so I'm in the ring, I'm in the
no
ring,
protection.
And the ref's like, "Hey man, where's your cup, bro?" I'm like, they're like, "He forgot his cup." The whole place is like, laughing. And the kid's mom, who I'm fighting, he's like, "What a dumbass!"
You're like, "I'm about to show you."
And my mom was like, getting like classic angry mom, And then I knocked him out, and then my mom turns over to the lady. She's like, "Who's the dumbass now?"
No.
Hey, so the jokes write themselves. You know what I mean?
So we were talking earlier, like that feeling, Gio, because like obviously you talk a lot in the boxing space and people like that love boxing. Here we have a lot of people that love music, Mexican culture, and just like people that have never knocked somebody out. Like that feeling you're saying earlier, it's like feeling like you're like in a coliseum, or like what is that sensation like giving it, and what's it like getting hit like that? Like, what does that like do for, like you were saying earlier, when someone's talking shit to you and it's like we all like that doesn't scare you. You fought tough dudes. You fought bigger guys.
Many rounds
you
already,
sparred Manny Pacquiao. For the common folk, like what is that fucking feeling like of hitting somebody on the button, dropping them?
Well, for me, it's never been about like it's weird because some guys are more savage. For me, I'm an artist, man. What I do is I outthink you, I frustrate you, and then when you're tired and in the deep waters, then I start peppering you a little bit more. And if you're ready to go, I'll take you out. But for me, it's always been about the dance. How stylish can I make it look? How much can I confuse you? I want to see you fucking lose hope. That's what I want. That's
what makes you tick.
But but when in those moments like with Gabriel Flores, or I even believe that I knocked Pitbull off balance. I got him with a good body shot when he was moving his feet, and it was a knockdown.
Oh, they didn't count it as a knockdown, right? They didn't count it
as a knockdown, and I'm just like, man, it's like every little fucking snub possible. These guys, there's no mercy in boxing when you're against the machine, when you're not their guy, And I'm happy to be this kind of independent troublemaker in boxing, but when that punch lands, it's a perfect union of timing, fucking grace, preparation, just execution, and one beautiful moment, tink, it feels effortless. You don't even realize that it happens. It's just like it's like in that moment, it just everything is one, woo, and then down, and then you're like, you just walk away feeling that it's a very special moment.
What about when you get hit?
I don't know what to talk about that.
That's sad stuff, man.
How special?
Yeah. Well, you want to touch on it?
I got a steel jaw.
I saw that. People talk about your jaw a lot.
Nobody can fucking hurt me up here. When my mind is right, when I'm focused, like I am now, when I'm ready to win, motherfuckers are in trouble, man.
It's good,
They're
man.
in trouble. Yeah, man. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to kill me, man. A focused Gio Cabrera is a dangerous Gio Cabrera, and right now, I fought my way to create a title fight for myself. Something I'm so proud of. Being kind of looked at as difficult to deal with when really I'm not. I'm just slightly, I would say a little bit more seasoned, and just asking for basic rights, necessities of that are often looked over, from fighters, managers, that kind of thing. I expect to be treated, fairly.
Sure.
Where was I going with this?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, for some fighters, how many years now have fighters been trying to advocate for themselves? And
and I guess that goes to the point that I want to talk about, where in a lot of sports, basketball, you're playing every other day. Baseball, you're playing 182 games, right? Football, you're playing every week. In boxing, I was reading, and I've thought about this before. It's like one of the lonelier sports, right? Where it's like, let's say everyone loses eventually. After a loss, like having not the ability to rebound next week or the month after, and having to wait those like 6 months to a year to get a fight. How is that mentally as a young Gio Cabrera and now as a more mature Gio Cabrera? Like, what is that like in your brain?
Well, the Pitbull loss for me, it kind of messed me up a little bit, because I was walking around with this chip on my shoulder, thinking I should be champ. I should be. Nobody deserves anything. You got to fucking work for everything. But just that mentality, it even makes you work a little bit less harder, because I believe I am at a certain level.
Yeah.
It may be true, but that's the wrong way to think about it.
You're saying like that you feel like the hunger wasn't there the same as.
Well, it was more sour. It's like what kind of fuel are you running on? Is it hate, or is it for the fucking title? Is it the championship merit? Is it that vibration? Or is it, no, everyone is like, against me kind of shit? It's very easy to feel that way, especially when, it's a popularity contest.
And you're like living in LA, and like that's the whole scene, and you're like, you got following, you're a good looking guy. I'm sure there's like, so having a fight like that where you feel like you might have gotten snubbed, or you did get snubbed.
Yeah.
So when you say it messes you mentally, like, did that last months, Gio, do you talk to people about that? Because I feel like,
well, I thought, in a certain way, like, I feel like, I was cheated, and, I must be doing things right, and I feel like that I won. So now people are coming in and trying to give me advice or tell me what to do and not to do. And it just makes me increasingly more stubborn. I'm a fighter,
Yeah.
It's making me defend myself even more. I'm like, dude, you guys can't tell me shit. You can't tell me shit. I'm going to do it my way. I did it my way, and it got me here.
Yeah.
And,
I'm going to keep doing it that way.
I'm going to keep doing it that way. And, that's okay if you want to get just to where I got, but you got to get over that shit,
Yeah.
So, I really, I kind of prepared lackadaisically for the Zepeda fight. It wasn't anyone's fault but my own, but, a lot of pressures, financial pressures, just like camp structure. A fighter really has to be on top of their shit, and they have to have all their ducks in line, psychologically, to feel like, strong enough to handle the fear, the stage, all that stuff.
And I think the machine too, right? Like you were saying. And then, you see people like you who've built it from scratch. And then my mind goes to like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Right.
And you see someone that, what weight this kid had to bear from being the son of the greatest Mexican fighter ever, having everything at his disposal, financially, camp wise, body wise.
Yeah.
And then, but you allude to the structure, and it's like when you started seeing, I forgot what fight it was, where he was fighting someone. They're like, oh, he's great. He wakes up at 11 p.m. some nights, and he goes into. It's like, yeah, because he fucking slept all day. And he wasn't training because, I mean, now we know what he was doing, but he was partying his ass off. Yeah. But it's like,
now we know.
Like even when you have it all and all your ducks might be in a row financially or a team, it like you said, like you took accountability, like, oh, it was me. And it's like, it's just crazy that you could be on either side of that. You could have everything and then still just fucking piss it away.
Yeah.
Like this kid pissed it away.
How is that discipline at that level? Now you're fighting the top 5 elite fighters, boxers in the world. What does that discipline look like outside of the ring?
It's simple.
Diet, like, all that extracurricular activities
it's
outside.
Actually, it's nothing. It's nothing flashy. It's nothing exciting, dude. It's just the boring shit. Just show up and maybe just don't eat that second fucking tortilla.
Bro, we're big tortilla advocates. This is sponsored by the restaurant next door, Los Comales. We're big tortilla advocates.
You can't order the taco 1 tortilla if you need.
Everything is just slightly less. Everything just slightly less, and just be chill and go to bed on time. And it's very it's so basic and so simple that a lot of people it just slips right underneath, and they don't do that.
Well, it's like I remember, like I work out a lot, and I play sports, and it's like, why can't I just like lose the weight? It's like, well, because I fucking love to eat, and it all starts with what you put in your mouth, right? Like the dieting and all that. I love to eat. That's my vice. So it's like I'm not gonna stop doing what I like to do, but I'd rather put in the extra work at the gym.
We're Mexican, man. I mean, look, have you seen like fucking Triple H and John Cena, Hulk Hogan, those WWE? Have you seen El Santo?
Yeah.
Like our body types are different, man.
If you look at a Mexican fighter, like Mexican boxer, compared to like any black fighter,
black
fighters are ripped, bro. Like, and
Chavez didn't have
they look like you're like a guy you'll see hanging out Los Comales on the weekend.
He's eating good.
Your tío outside drinking a beer on the cooler.
Yeah. One of my favorite examples of that is like Navarrete, Vaquero. He's a Mexican fighter. I think he's a Ford.
He eats whatever, right?
And he talks about, I eat Maruchan. I'm just not that fighter.
That's crazy. That's ghetto diet, though. Ghetto diet somehow works.
Yeah.
Ghetto diet makes you crazy wiry. I don't know how or what.
Crawford was talking about, too, like eating like just not crazy good food. And Crawford looked in this last Canelo fight like just completely ripped.
Jacked.
Yeah.
That's that snack. But
but you're right. Like getting into like the Mexican food wise and all that. Like, what is like a normal, like when you're going to go out, like being, from a family of Mexican immigrants, like what is your go-to, I mean, it's almost lunchtime too, but what is your go-to, like what's your favorite Mexican meals to eat? What do you drink when you're celebrating a win?
What do you eat when you're not like preparing for a big fight? And what do you eat compared to what you would eat like right now? You have a big...
If I didn't have a fight?
Right.
Yeah.
Let me see the menu, man. I'm just kidding. No, dude, I love steak. I love mariscos. I love oysters, shrimp, seafood. Like, that's like cream of the crop, Korean barbecue, man. I love Korean barbecue.
You're gonna love the Korean barbecue in Korea in April.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn that motherfucker into Korean barbecue. Go. I'm gonna put him on a skewer. Shove it up his ass.
But you're a big eater when you're not
big
training.
Big eater, man. I'm a fat ass at heart, man. My I grew up with a big brother. He's fucking pigs out, man. You know? So like, after football, he'd come home. We'd like kill like 2 buckets of chicken wings. No, we love to eat, man. I love to eat. Food's a big part of my mother always grew up cooking. Like, she loves to cook. We were always in the kitchen with her. She used to have a restaurant in Mexico called Cabrini's. And, just a little Mexican restaurant in Leon. And she's always been a big cook. My grandmother as well. Amazing cook.
I mean, Italian and Mexican, but you're in trouble, man. And you're supposed to be a professional fighter.
It's bullshit, man. I got the worst fucking genes ever, man.
Dude,
for gaining weight, man.
Oh, for gaining weight, yeah. That's gonna be tough after you stop the boxing career.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get plastic surgery.
Like after the lawyer,
I'm gonna get a tummy tuck. Yeah, I'm gonna get that 6-pack.
Okay, so now now speaking of Mexico, I know you and I talked before, and you mentioned how you lived in Mexico for a little bit, and you're from León, Guanajuato, right?
León, Guanajuato. Yeah, I lived right there in La Colonia Obrera, right by el centro, la zona zapatera. My grandfather, he was a shoe maker, like a cobbler. Basically, he would make the soles on the shoes. We'd see him doblillando with his little hammer.
That's great. That's a dying
with the cemento and shit. He'd make little rubber balls. Yeah, man. I come from the earth, man. Very very humble beginnings. My father had 7 sisters. They all lived in one room.
Yeah.
How was that? How was that culture shock moving to Mexico?
Dude, I love growing up in Mexico, man. León, Guanajuato, like I said, I'm a street kid. I would be in the street from
morning
the moment that
dusk.
I could to come out. It was running around in the street, man. Yeah, I felt really free in Mexico. I know it's funny to say that economically, it wasn't that great, but it felt like a fucking real childhood. It felt amazing.
And I think I've heard that from other people too, where man, maybe I'll just me junto unos 10,000, 20,000 dólares y me voy a México porque allá se vive diferente, which it is, man. Even when we go, we have a home in Jalisco. You're there and it's just the air, the ground, the animals around. It's a different upbringing where here everything moves so fucking fast, especially when you're in California. I'm assuming it was even faster. There's a lot more distractions, I think. And you think you need so much more to be happy than you really do need. In Mexico, man, we'll walk the cerro. We'll go, my dad has lamb. We'll go with the fucking lamb. We act like we're farmers. It's like we play Sims. We're like Sims characters. We're going to buy a cow today.
I put the food in just for the Instagram story.
Yeah. But it is, you live so much.
Everybody enjoys everything better, man. It's hey, wait, vamos a la tienda a comprar unas cocas.
Yeah, dude.
Actually,
I never thought about that. Yeah, and even the...
What? Las tortillas están bien frescas.
Oh, you go to the tortilleria and you go in there, give you the hot tortillas.
You know what?
Hey, wait, vámonos por unos churritos, wait. They find just
we do that. We jump. Yeah, that's true, man.
It's a simple thing.
The ritual is fucking awesome.
My cousin, he's been living in America. He moved here when he was maybe 12 years old. And he's been living here ever since. He's 31 now, I think, something like that. He's years. But he told me that what he misses the most about Mexico and Durango was the sound of the tortilla factories.
Yeah.
Going to go get the tortilla. He missed that. I'm damn, I didn't expect
the weakest of the cousins has to go get
the tortilla. The youngest. He sent out the youngest. But he talked about the sound of the tortilla factory. He misses that the most. I was
stuff that you can't recreate, right? You always miss what you can't have, I think, right away. And it's when you're here, it's just everything's so fucking fast and everything's so instant gratification. Where in Mexico, te cuesta un poco de trabajo. Vamos por unos gancitos, cabrón, or Coca-Cola, or let's go to La Plaza and just see who's hanging out at La Plaza. And that's what we used to do growing up. We'd go there.
You're just standing over there
and the little churros, what are the ones that they look like pretzels? The ones that los frían in La Plaza, and they put limón y chile. They're like little duritos.
Yeah, duritos, yeah.
I mean,
that shit is fire, dude. And it's
all the circle ones.
Yeah. I used to love those.
Los tacos,
you said a word that caught my attention. You said rituals, and I'm always interested in how people prepare for stuff. When on a boxing, even for me, when I prepare for a podcast or when I prepare for an event, I'm very selective on what I do, what I eat, what I work. If I'm going to work out that day, I'm a fucking freak with stuff like that because. Thank you for that. Well, I think it's I always like to be prepared.
I fasted 3 days for this.
I'm dying of hunger. But I find it interesting, what people's rituals are. So on a fight day, how does that work? What is your routine, or what is the things that you cannot do without?
Fight day. Drinking a lot of water.
Because now you're trying to gain some weight back, right?
Gaining weight. I'm eating. I'm eating some pastas. Well, usually the night before, right after weigh-in is the fucking
max
key,
out.
Man. Yeah.
Can you explain real quick to the viewers how that works? Well, how weight cutting.
You're asking the wrong guy. No, I'm just kidding.
How that process works? You got to come in at a certain weight, right?
Yeah. You got to come.
The day of the weigh-in is what? The day before the fight, usually?
Yeah, 24 hours before the fight. yeah, man. You know, like I've always been pretty big for a lightweight, and even when I first turned pro at 21, you know, my trainers John and Zam, they were killing me, man. I was making 130. I was fucking walking around like 153, 152, and you know, they would just be like, their method for losing weight. Their science was this. Okay, you work out, you sweated 5 pounds. You go home, drink a cup of water, eat 1 plate of food, and you should be a couple pounds less. Doesn't make any fucking sense. You're just dehydrated.
Yeah.
So, but that was the science behind my weight cutting for like 18 straight fights. So, you know, I'd be like getting dwindled down and be a little dehydrated the whole time, but they made me mentally tough as hell. We would train in the sauna for out, like, you know, we would do a full workout in the morning, like 5 a.m. I would meet them at the LA Fitness on Dempster over there on like on the north side by him. And they had an indoor track, and I'd run like 5 miles or 3 miles, and we would do like I'd do my body work, sit-ups, push-ups, we'd do some weights. And then after all that, we would go into the steam room, hot fucking steam room they had at that place. Deadly.
Too hot.
I got PTSD from that fucking steam room. So he would go in there and he would make me quit, you know. And it's very it was like, you know, desesperación, fucking, you feel like you're dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you feel like you can't breathe.
He would push me mentally, and it got me really tough. And then we would leave the steam room and we'd go into the sauna, and then I'd do some rounds in the sauna.
You're shadow boxing and
shadow boxing in the sauna. So by the time, you know, that I was sparring or doing other things, there was like air conditioning, and it felt like I was on top of
rejuvenated.
A mountain. Yeah. You know, or you know, what I'm saying is the temperature difference compared to like the difficulty of like the humidity and the heat. And it was teaching me to be able to withstand the dehydration. So
how many days
I'm not
prior
saying
to...
it was. I'm not saying. By the way, nobody follow this.
Don't do.
Don't do this. You know, it's not for the faint of heart. You know, it's gonna. I'm sure that's what you feel like right before you die. Like if they found you in the desert after like a week with no food. You know, it feels deadly.
How many days prior to cutting, like when your weight, like the weigh-in?
I do it like 2-3 days, or like 2 days before.
So 2 days you're grinding out like this, 5 a.m. till what time are you working out?
Well, no. If it's like the week of, you know, I'm kind of like not working so hard, but you know, just maintaining my water levels and just getting light cardio in. And you know, you do like a water loading process. You drink a bunch of water, and you have reserves in your body, getting ready for that weight cut. And then, you know, you're like, you know, you're flushing out the water so much because you're drinking so much that you're kind of tricking your body into releasing. So then you go in the sun and you kind of let it all out. Yeah.
And what was the most weight you have to cut?
I've done 25 pounds before.
In a week? Or
I was like 155, getting down to 130.
In how long?
Like 4 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that for like 18 straight fights, man. And then, you know, I couldn't do it after I came back. So I just did lightweight. But I should have been fighting at lightweight for my whole career. It didn't really make, you know, because like that whole fucking effort to lose the weight, I could have been getting knockouts, you know. I was literally spending hours and days in the saunas to get down to 130, where I could have just been stronger at 135.
Oh, just go up some. Yeah. That's true.
And wait, to defend my knockout ratio, I also defeated more undefeated fighters than any prospect in the history of boxing. Yeah. 7 undefeated fighters. You know, 7 undefeated
I saw
fighters.
you would go into their home turf, right?
Stephen Fulton did it too, but who cares about him?
Yeah, he's not on the podcast. He's not a friend of the pod. I did see that you would go into like their turf and they'd put up their best fighter and you.
Yeah.
Just like in Korea, you go into that.
Well, that all the time, yeah.
Not a real Korean, but
So then to go back to Mandy's point, so then to cut weight, because this is interesting as fuck. Like you see now, like high school wrestling and stuff like that, and you know, like I have a 7 and 8 year old kid, and I want to get them into like something combat-ish, whether it's MMA or jiu-jitsu or boxing, because I feel like he might need get out some aggression.
Yeah.
But it's like, then I think about this weight cutting stuff and these high school kids that are like shedding all this weight.
Well, I mean, wrestling, it's better because, I mean, they do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know? Like if I was like doing practice weight cuts every 2-3
they
weeks,
do that.
Well, they don't. Well, they just do it more often.
I
So
see.
they're cutting weight every week. So they're maintaining
Right, yeah. They're not, the fluctuations aren't
They're
so.
not like
Making
dehydrating
kids lose
15.
30 pounds in 3 days.
Oh, dude, you got kids in the sauna with bags on spitting in the cups and stuff,
Yeah.
and you're like, man, you're 16, dude. You
That's
should
a
be out
little-
like drinking and like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't condone drinking.
Yeah,
You should be out.
sir.
You should be out lying to your
my
parents about
God.
where you're at.
Yeah.
Like what we were doing.
Here you
Like,
go, kid. Take
Son,
this
go out and
joint.
drink.
no, don't do drugs.
Not
Don't-
what we were doing.
Yeah, no, but it's like I see that and I'm like, oh, dude, that seems like it's. I mean, it's great discipline,
Taxing mentally for sure.
but it's also like going back to like kids being kids or how you were raised or how you were like how you grow up. Like, I want my kids to enjoy their childhood, but I also know that sports in general is good for them, and that's when I started doing a little bit deep diving on how like difficult it is to be a boxer, and how difficult it is to be in a ring.
I think they've said it was the most difficult sport in the world.
Yeah, you got to have some screws loose for sure. I don't know what's wrong with me. But
Some.
Yeah, because like you didn't grow up like you said, like your dad putting you in the gym every day, or like it was something that you kind of.
Yeah, but you know, like moving around so much as a kid always made me an outsider. So it kind of made me always have to defend myself. I was always kind of talking shit. Maybe you know
that's
when.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were talking
Why did everybody want to kick your ass? No,
Yeah, what are you looking at? Fuck you.
I don't know. I don't know why. No, but you know, I just always kind of had like a little bit of a rebellious attitude, and people didn't like that. They're like, "Dude, look how little you are.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here," kind of attitude. And I was like, "Nah, bro, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm just as good as anybody else," kind of thing. You know, and like that really is the fighting mentality that you have to have. Just, you know, to not be a pushover, to you know, control your own destiny, to be your own man in this world, you know, where everybody wants to decide things for you, right? If you don't decide, the world will decide for you. And, you know,
Yeah, they'll put you in a box or they'll be like, this is your
boxing,
path.
yeah, boxing, it's like people, I always make this joke all the time. They're like, "Oh, Joe, like, why did you want to become a boxer? Was it greatness? Was it championship?" It's like, I just don't want to get a real job. I'm just this is the lengths that I'm willing. This is the lengths that I'm willing to go to.
So we wanted to. Manny brought up a good point about like, you know, the whole thing with the weight loss and the cutting. So a couple days prior, now you're starting to retain. You're drinking water, but you're going into the sauna, steam, workouts.
Yeah.
Everything leading up to the big moment, which has obviously been a part that you've said that is difficult to meet weight sometimes.
Right.
You're losing the weight. You're not eating, I'm assuming. What is the last like 24 hours prior to getting on that scale like?
Well, you know, usually it's like you're just counting the seconds until you can drink some water again.
Yeah.
Your heart beats a little faster, your blood feels thicker. You know, even when I've done it good, it's still pretty tough. You know,
Right.
but you know, a lot of people, they talk about the weight, and it's like, you know, well, why would you like people that aren't in boxing? They're always like, well, why wouldn't it make sense to get bigger? Like, you know, like, don't you want to get bigger? And like, you know, anybody. Oh, not anybody, but you know, it's easy to get big. You know,
Amen. It's
No?
easy to get big.
Preach.
I take that back. That's a ridiculous statement. No, but what I'm saying is, you know, putting on weight versus being your optimal shredded body weight, which means the leanest as you possibly can, the lengthiest. That, like, these are all things that are going to make you incredibly dangerous. If you have the discipline to do it right and not do a bad weight cut and be able to get down, let's say like if Fundora had to cut the weight to get to where he is, although he's lucky, gifted physically that he doesn't have to do that, you know, his length and like his physicality, like if there was somebody else like that, yeah, there's a 6'5" guy cutting down to get to that,
Yeah.
people will say like, well, maybe he's weight bullying, but no, I say that's total fucking bullshit. You made the sacrifice to be your elite optimum self, then that is the sacrifice you're willing to make as an elite athlete.
Right.
Right? And that should be the measure. Like, if I gain weight after it, that's none of your fucking business. We agreed to a contract weight, and that is the agreement. You care about this other shit is because you're afraid, or, you know, otherwise don't accept the challenge, you know? If you don't want the challenge, don't accept the fucking fight. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the contract says you arrive at a certain weight at this certain day.
People that try to get each other with like rehydration clauses,
Yeah.
a bunch of pussies. Yeah.
So then you're just like hoping and waiting to drink some water.
Yeah.
And you're going to bed dehydrated. You're going to bed tired probably as well.
Just meditating, trying to.
And what time is normally these weigh-ins? Like noonish?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them in the Emerald Queen Casino. I was initially signed to a promoter out there, which was really smart move on the part of like my trainers John and Sam at the time, because I was fighting like 5 times a year, 6 times a year. In 3 years, I got to 18-0. The pandemic really fucked it up for me.
Yeah.
3 years, almost 4 years.
Yeah.
18-0.
Yeah.
Like 6 fights a year, basically
Yeah,
like that.
you
I
don't see
was
that anymore.
moving,
Yeah.
undefeated fighter after undefeated fighter. The last fight I had on Showtime before the pandemic was versus an undefeated Olympian Ecuadorian named Luis Perozo, and I saw the way that he fought, flat-footed, wide base, just kind of like traded like very basic stuff. And when I got into the ring, he fought completely opposite of that. He was on his fucking stick moving, and I was like, oh shit, I'm behind on the scorecards.
Yeah.
3 rounds, or like 2 rounds, and I just threw out my game plan out the window, and I just started mauling them down and hunting them and brawling them, and I was close to finishing him towards the end, and I won that fight in Tacoma. Yeah.
So in a fight like that it's a big day, you do your weigh in on, let's say the fight's on a Saturday, you do your weigh in on Friday, like noonish.
Yeah.
After that, hammering food,
Yeah, a lot
hydrating. You're doing electrolytes,
drinking electrolytes, Pedialytes, maybe a little coconut water, a lot of water.
Yeah.
I'm eating like pasta with butter, garlic,
Yeah.
or olive oil and stuff, some salmon. I'll have a nice big salad, and then whatever carbs I want, bread and butter.
So you're maxing out.
Yeah, maxing out as much as I can.
To
It's
get
tough
that-
though, because you get full fast
You don't wanna
because
be
your
yeah.
stomach is shrunk from not eating.
Yeah.
And you want to eat more, but you're like, oh damn, it's full. But like I could keep drinking.
Yeah.
I'm like a fish, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll walk in and I'll gain like 20 pounds for sure.
In 24 hours.
Yeah.
So then you wake up the day of the fight, and that's when we were starting this part of this conversation, was like the ritual part, like not just on we're done with the food and the drinks. What it like mentally, knowing that you're going into something where you're gonna potentially get tagged.
Spiritual, man. The whole thing is spiritual, man. It's a complete, like, it's all about will. Are you willing to go through the pain? Are you willing? It's like even like Buddhist monks and different people throughout all traditions fasted before reaching certain enlightenment. And like, it's funny because, the boxer goes through this in a way. Like, if you've ever been around a boxer that's cutting weight, he's completely loving. He's completely like, just like grateful for everything. You're like, oh, dude, thank you so much. Or they get angry, It's like you could go either way, but like there's something about fasting that it strips you down to the bare necessities of psychology and comfort, and like you can see where you're at, it's and that process, willing to go through the pain, having the will, having the will to push through that is it shows you where you are mentally, and that fortitude comes from the preparation. It comes from your sparring. It comes from the rounds of mitts that you put in. Like, you have the confidence because you've logged it. You've told yourself that you've done it this amount of times.
Muscle. I mean, yeah, you're just
and that's what allows you to talk to yourself, to your internal monologue, to push you to be able to withstand these kinds of things. Impossible things are done that way,
Yeah. And I suppose like it's almost like it's the reward, right? Getting to fight day. Because all the other stuff is like, it's such a grind.
Yeah,
it's
the
such
work was put in.
The work was put in, the cutting, the fasting, the weigh in, and then it's got to feel like pretty relieving, I think, too, to get to that day. Or how does that feel
for me?
you?
It's all business until it's over, man. So it's over, like,
But is there like an anxiousness prior to the fight to be like, I'm ready to fucking like punch somebody that's not my sparring partner?
It's like I always like when it comes to performance, like I don't know how other fighters feel about it, but for me, it's like when you first become a fighter, you're like you create this image of how you should be and how you should act, and you kind of try to embody that, right? Like, and so you're kind of posturing a little bit, right? But you're becoming something that you've never been before, and in order to do that, you have to imagine what that would be like. So you're faking it till you make it in a way, and then when you get the experience, you're seasoned, then right? You have the actual experience. But when you get to bigger and bigger stages, like you know, you see a fucking stadium like T-Mobile Arena and you're on pay-per-view with Crawford and Spence, you know, and this thing is larger than life. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna crumble under the pressure?
Yeah.
It's like people that don't like being in the city. They see like the big buildings and they're like, oh my god, all these people. Like I never understood that. I'm always like, yes, this is me. Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is fucking great. It's
So
what
the lights never like.
it's what you identify with.
Yeah.
I want the stage. I want the glory.
You want the spotlight.
You know, like all these people, everybody here. You know, I created this energy. This is all. It's all happening inside my mind, and it's me. You know.
Yeah.
And there's no difference. So when I hear the crowd, it's like I'm doing this. You know, I play mental games with myself and say, he's in my fucking world right now. Like he's thinking that this is all outside of him. He's gonna crumble by it. You know, it's like when the energy is directed towards you, many people cannot handle it. I've always kind of risen to the occasion when it was necessary. You know, when I'm focused and when I'm ready to win. Like,
Yeah.
I'm ready for the bright light, and you know I want to perform. And yeah, man, it's like it's how I imagined it when I was a kid. It's how I am, you know, like you envision yourself like Rocky or being in these big stages and what that would be like. Okay, man, you're here. Time to fucking own it.
Is there a soundtrack in your head that day? Are you listening to music? Is there something in your brain? Like, does music have any part of your ritual?
More and more, you know, I just try to talk to myself, man. Try to tap
So you're like you're like all internal.
Try to tap into my energy and, you know, like, you know, confront all my fears, you know, because as much as you want to pretend that they're not there, they're there, and fucking deal with it. Deal with it now. Like, don't wait.
So you're in the
Don't
ring,
wait. Most people try to, like, you know, not think about things, and they try to block things out and say, oh no, come on, it's too late. We're in this now. But I you know, it's like what is it's going back to the thing. What is your fuel source? Is it your performance? Like you think you're trying to project that you're like this big badass kind of guy, or yeah, but basically it just comes down to what you believe, man. Like, you know, well, like, do you believe in your record? Do you believe in who you are? Are you trying to be this persona? Was it about your training? It's like, what makes you tick, and what's going to be your shield, basically? What are you going to fall on? For me, I believe that all that ego shit, although it's cool and it's fun to perform and do it, it's not enough to keep you up when you get hit in the fucking jaw with a haymaker. You have to have a higher source of belief, you know? And if you just want to be famous and for that, and you want to be champion because you want to be the man and you want to have money, that's okay. And that'll beat a lot of guys. But when you run into a Gio Cabrera, or when you run into a Zepeda who just had a daughter, and I'm trying to do it because I have a chip on my shoulder and I'm trying to be the champ or the man or whatever, that's not fucking strong enough to beat Zepeda in that moment. Zepeda just had a daughter. He did everything right. He was strong mentally. He has the higher fuel right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's about that. So for me, I had to really, after those losses, I had to think about, like, what is my fuel source? And I want to get to the point where I am, you know, one of the leaders of the industry, to be the face of boxing as somebody that has something to say, that has an impact amongst, you know, immigrant communities, and, you know, shows the way, and, you know, how to stand up for yourself, how to be a champion for human rights, how to be a champion for workers' rights, how to know about the business, how to teach people about the business, how to elevate the sport instead of making a fucking mockery and wanting me to act like a clown and, you know, go crazy on the cameras like fucking Keyshawn Davis, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
You know, or like, you know, different
He
people.
fucked that up, yeah.
Even Broner, you know, as great as Broner could have been and was at the time, it's like they want us to fucking shake ass and make clowns out of ourselves.
Yeah.
What happened to the Gio Cabrera gentleman with the fucking suit that tried to shake the guy's hand and went viral because he acted like a dumbass, you know? It's like, you know, they got us in this fucking like popularity contest, like who has more followers and shit. Do you think that's enough fuel for Sugar Ray Leonard to withstand Duran? No. They had real problems. They were grown men with fucking ideals, with platonic ideals of being great, soaring in heaven with the boxing gods, you know. That's what we're going for.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me to have the chip on my shoulder and try to compete in this little bullshit thing that's, boxing is being turned into dilutes my power. Now I have to compete in their little game, and that fuel source isn't enough for me. It depresses the shit out of me. Like, this is what we come to. So I gotta fucking watch influencers fight on TV, and promoters are prioritizing them because they're whoring my sport out, the one that I love, the one that changed my life, the one that gave me faith in myself, and made me become somebody in this world.
Yeah, that got you out of what you were doing, or maybe a path that you didn't like about how you were, born or raised in. And I think it's one of those points that you were saying now with like the celebrity stuff or the influencer stuff, that the Jake Pauls,
oh my god,
or even like I know how you feel about them. What about like Tyson coming back to do fights, and what about Mayweather coming back to do fights? These guys that have been obviously on the Mount Rushmore of boxers, probably coming back and humoring what's happening in boxing when it comes to these, Netflix events and these kind of theatrical kind of, things that are coming up that even like my 7-year-old knows about, my wife knows about, people that don't know boxing. So it's bringing eyes to the sport, but not the sport that you were raised in. How does that make you feel seeing some of the legends coming back outside of the Paul brothers?
I think it's just like, what is it like? Television killed the radio star. Like, it's like it was a pop song. This influencer boxing shit was a pop song that pop. And we had never had this kind of media platform where so much eyes all at once with these new generations. But this is it. It's over.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Is there any other influencer after Jake Paul or any boxer that rose because of social media like Ryan Garcia?
Yeah.
It busted its nut already. Like now it's getting back to the same shit. I mean, no one's investing all this money into influencer boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, not all money is smart money. Turkey, like he put that card
the Saudi guy, right?
In Madison Square, or no.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
Times
Turkey.
Square.
Oh, okay.
In Times Square. That was the dumbest fucking waste of money. People didn't even get to see the fight for its epicness and all that stuff. It was a big charade. And, Ryan Garcia, he got stopped. Or no, he didn't get stopped, but he got dropped by Rolly and he got beat. So it's just like, most of the time, these fucking guys that have been blown up, like, nobody can understand the kind of spotlight that Ryan Garcia, he deals with it, mentally very tough. It's,
Yeah. And it seems like, speaking about him, like it's been like a roller coaster of emotions from his team.
Exactly,
or
but
him.
he doesn't even fucking train for some of those fights. Like,
Oh, really?
I mean, look at that fight against Rolly. Like, you could tell. Like, I saw him train. Justin Forsythe kind of ditched me half midway camp in the Abdullah fight to train Ryan Garcia. I was like, you fucking kidding me, bro?
Yeah.
I can't escape this shit.
Yeah.
The clap. Chasing the clap.
Yeah, man. And
So is there an element though that
I was like, so I'm just what I'm saying is this influencer shit. It's not even fuel for them. Like they don't even get excited over it. They can't because it's weak.
Yeah.
You have to want to be a champion,
Yeah.
And
Just
now that everyone's kind of like everyone's getting weaker, man.
Well, I think after seeing one of the Paul brothers get knocked out by that heavyweight, maybe like 3-4 months ago, I think everyone was hoping for like there's like a cherry on top of this whole thing, right? Where it's like we want to see him get his fucking bell rung and we want to see him get knocked out. And like, because I agree with you. I have a hard time watching those fights, but I also have a hard time not watching them because they're so relevant in what we do, right? It's so everyone's asking about it. I'm a sports fan. I know Manny, but I feel like watching him finally get his bell rung is like, all right, cool. Like you're saying, it's busted. It's not. Let's fucking move on and talk about real
Let's talk
fighters.
about some real shit. Let's make it serious.
Yeah.
Man. Let's chase higher ideals.
Yeah.
It's like, one of the reasons I know you were asking me like, why isn't boxing so big in Chicago? And it's a strange question because I mean, look at this fucking metropolis of a city we have. It's beautiful. I think it's I prefer this. This is the best city in the world to me. I think Chicago is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
And the reason why we're not having boxing in stadiums or like venues and sold out shit is it's the basic fact that like these guys suck at business. I mean, how is it that like you can't get a licensing fee for any streaming network here for a regular fight card? You can't get they haven't thought because they don't know anything about entertainment. These guys that are promoters here, I think they want to be as cheap as possible, you know, and
Yeah.
they make fighters fucking do the promotional job. Like, what kind of bullshit is this, guys? You guys fucking, like, you know, you tricked us into doing your fucking job, and you're making us pay ourselves by selling tickets.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Getting the license and, like, you know, but at the same time, they make it, if you know, all this money isn't laying around, they make it possible for fighters to get fights by selling their own tickets.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that part of
It's
the
a
game.
double. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, what do you say? Well, where the fuck is this? Where am I supposed to get this money? I don't know. Maybe try a little.
Right.
Try to get some sponsors together. There's big companies and corporations all
Yeah.
over Chicago. Why don't you guys get together, come up with some money for a
Yeah.
venue, get a
Yeah.
TV licensing
Do some
thing
work.
or
Put
streaming,
in
do
some
some
work.
work.
You know, I think it's
You
going
don't
to
want to
take.
do any work.
It's gonna be interesting because I see where, you know, the sport had a lull maybe for a little bit, and then, you know, obviously there's some big fights that happened, and then obviously all this YouTube stuff I think helped in some regard.
Absolutely.
Like we
Definitely
went,
helped.
Eric and I went to go see, like, we'll talk about like baseball, right? So baseball, same thing. A little bit of a lull where you're like, shit, man, there's so many games, they're so long. They've done some work to get the game shorter. Eric took my kids and I and my wife to go see the Savannah Bananas, and then you see like a reinvention of a sport, right? And it now, I don't think baseball is going that direction, but it's like you see little pieces like that that can possibly help baseball, MLB out, because everyone's brains are working differently now this day and age, right? My kids are on fucking YouTube and they're on TikTok, and it's like, it's different. And I think every sport has to evolve eventually.
Yeah.
Do I agree with what's happening with boxing? No. Do I succumb to the pressure of watching some of these fights? You know, like Tyson's going to fight Mayweather. Am I going to watch? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
man, that's why I
I'm just
grew up.
gonna watch that.
Free
Because
Netflix on
I-
a Sunday night. Why
Tell
not?
me
Yeah, because I grew up on it. Is it soon?
I think it might. No, I think it's. They were talking
Maybe
about-
this summer?
Yeah, summer or
Okay.
September. Or fall.
You know, but, you know,
No, Tyson's gonna need some time.
yeah. Well, you know, and he fought one of the Paul brothers. You could tell
Yeah.
he was going maybe 10, 15%. Or from like your perspective,
I
what
love
did you see
Tyson,
there?
man.
No, man. I mean, yeah. You're the one. You're in the industry, man. So it's interesting to hear from your point of view. I'll let you know what I think of something like this. But you know, when you look at, obviously, exhibition matches been going on forever. Ali's fought professional wrestlers, exhibition matches. Mayweather's done a ton of them. I think that's a little different than what the Paul brothers are doing. When you start to incorporate a real record,
Yeah.
real fight record, and now he's talking about becoming a champion, and like
Ridiculous.
you see him fight Chavez Jr., who's not even like trying to knock out Jake Paul. You see him fight Nate Robinson, like poor guy knocked him the fuck out. Like
That was a horrible knockout.
fighting a bunch of UFC like MMA fighters. Like
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Yeah, it's great that people are like, maybe the youth for in the beginning were watching but how many of these kids are actually getting in the gyms? How many like future stars are actually coming up now? Like,
Yeah.
what good is it doing for boxing long run? And
Not enough, man. It's easier to make TikToks than to put the sweat and blood in the gym every day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because, you know, it's not enough, man. That fuel source is not enough. Like, to get your ass whooped and continuously come back to improve is the only way to get better. And something has to drive you deep down inside, you know, to keep taking those ass whoopings until you get to a point where you have some confidence and you have some style. Yeah.
That's true. I wanted to transition a little bit into boxing in general for you, watching it, growing up in it. You talked about the story with Pacquiao, and Manny was bringing it up to me too. How the fuck did that happen? Him being like your hero, and then you ending up in a gym
in the ring.
in the ring with him, like suddenly. How does that happen?
I was in a toxic relationship. That kind of led the toxic relationship.
Led you to Manny Pacquiao.
Led me to Manny Pacquiao. You know, I had fired my trainers and my managers. I was in a bad relationship. I got married during the pandemic, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was just a crazy thing I did, and whatever, man.
Yeah.
So it was fucked up. You know, I was staying at a place here on the north side. We had an apartment that, you know, their family owned a lot of real estate, so they were letting us stay in this place. We were acting crazy. We got kicked out of the place, and
You and your lady.
yeah.
Kicked
so
out of her own place.
yeah, we're like, you guys are cut off, man. You guys are being wild. And basically, I got my own place on on the south side, kind of by a little village, and the property manager said I was giving him my boxing spiel like when I met him, I'm Joe Cabrera, blah blah blah, fucking and he says I know Freddie Roach. The guy said he knew Freddie Roach, and I was like, he's like I'm gonna get you with Freddie. I was like, yeah, whatever, man. And every month or so he'd hit me up and he'd be like, hey man, you ready? And I'd be like, yeah. And then he'd kind of ghost me. I was like, man, fuck this dude. The next time he calls me, I'm gonna tell him, man, John Kuth. I was like, man, this guy better not say the same shit. He's like, hey man, I got my ticket to Vegas. We're gonna go see my uncle Chuck Cameron, and he's the guy that's gonna get you with Freddie. So I packed all my shit in my car. I got rid of the apartment.
You got rid of the girl too?
Got rid of the girl.
Hell yeah.
I said, go home.
Yeah. And so what, you packed up your car, you drove to Vegas?
I drove to Vegas. I met with Chuck. Chuck, fucking cool old Vegas type. Fucking those horn rim glasses, just walking around, like doing whatever he wants, like bothering the staff places. It was fucking really cool. Awesome guy. Has like every second sentence is like a joke, like a one-liner for this guy.
Zingers.
Classic guy. And we were there at dinner. He says, okay, you know what? He's like, I like this kid. He calls Freddie. He says, Freddie, the kid's coming tomorrow. I arrived the next day on my birthday, on my it was the 25th birthday. And I go and I walk upstairs, and as I'm pulling in, Manny Pacquiao's pulling out.
You drive to LA the next day?
Yeah, the next day. The next morning I drive into LA, and as I'm pulling in the walk cart, Pacquiao's leaving, and I'm like, oh shit, dude, that's cool.
That's real.
Yeah, it's real, man. And I go upstairs, and Freddie's up there, and there's like 100 people outside, waiting for autographs and pictures of Manny. And I'm like, oh yeah, I felt the energy. And he's like, hey, how many fights you got, kid? 18. I'm 18-0. He's like, you ever win any championships? I was like, well, I was Golden Gloves champion, and I won a bronze in the National Olympic tournament in Mexico. He was like, like, okay.
What up? Yeah.
I was like, whatever, dude. I was like, well, if you're good, you could stay. I was like, all right, cool. So I started training, and I've been, like I said, during the pandemic, I was a fat boy, I'm not really ready, but I'm with Freddie Roach, man. I'm training hard.
Yeah.
And he says, 2 days later, he says, Gio, Pacquiao wants to meet you. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe if he likes you, who knows? Maybe he'll hire you for sparring. So I train 5 minutes before he gets there. He says, Gio, Pacquiao just fired both of his sparring partners. He wants to go 6 rounds with you right now. Do you want to do it? And I'm like, well, fuck, I guess. Yeah, hell yeah, let's go, man. But I'm like, I'm second guessing in my head. I'm like, am I really about to fucking fight Pacquiao?
Yeah.
And
So he fired Pacquiao fired his sparring partners,
and he needed a guy.
Who was he preparing for?
He was preparing for Earl Spence.
Oh shit!
So it was like it was supposed to be Manny's last fight. He's preparing for Earl Spence. Earl Spence is a lefty. I'm kind of the height and weight at the time.
Wow.
And yeah, the Fox News Sport 1 cameras come in. The Black Eyed Peas come in. Like fucking like Joe Coy is there. Like all these
Filipinos.
people, all the Filipinos, just like who him? They're laughing at me like I'm fucking lunch meat, dude. Like they're like, this guy's gonna get fucking murdered, and I'm like, and they're gloving me up, and they're like, hey man, they're like, you okay? Like you good? Like you ready to do this? And I'm like, yeah, man. And he's like, just do your best. And I feel like I'm gonna get slaughtered, dude. It feels like they're priming me up for the cameras to get my ass whooped to say Manny's backed, And I fucking moved like lightning, bro. I tell you, when every cell in my body was afraid with fucking fear.
Just reflexes.
I stood away from him. Had an awkward ass style, and he really couldn't get me at all. It was crazy. I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm like, I'm boxing Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Dude. Like even like warming up in the ring, like. He's fucking like bouncing around, like getting ready, and fucking Freddie Roach and Pacquiao are in the opposite corner about to face me. I'm like, I'm fucking cooked, man. But it was awesome, man. It was awesome.
And you were there by yourself?
Yeah, I was there by myself, dude.
Wow.
Pepe Riley was in my corner. Pepe, one of the trainers there, always had my back. Always been a great friend, great mentor to me there. He was on the Olympic team with De La Hoya. He's one of the trainers at Wildcard. Fucking love Pepe, man. But yeah, he was looking at me like, yeah, he didn't know what to tell me. He's like, well, just try your best, kid. I did good, man.
Just
and then
don't-
he
So
hired me.
you went to
die.
6 rounds?
I went to 6 rounds and he couldn't really touch me, man. And
Were you fucking gassed after that?
I was fucking gassed. I was gassed. It was just in the beginning of camp too, so he wasn't like at his full peak either. But I must admit, man, Pacquiao in his prime, I don't know, man. I think he fucking gets me easy. Not easy. I'm not gonna say, but just like Pacquiao and anybody for these fucking kids that think that they want to see like they're great or whatever, bro. Even in his old age,
because he was already he was already like in it almost 40 at that time, probably, right? Nah, right. He's probably like 45ish right now.
That was supposed to be his last fight ever.
Yeah.
His retirement.
I remember. So this place, Gio, was a place. You go ahead. Yeah.
Let me just tell you. And then, so they're like, you know what, Gio, I don't know how you did it, but perfect timing, man. Pacquiao wants to hire you. So I was like, I didn't have anywhere to stay at the time. I had all my shit in my car. I had just had one night at this motel or whatever. And I was like, dude, I would love to, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to live. He says, go tell Pacquiao that. I'm like, fuck, I don't know how to tell him, man. I was like, hey, Manny, I would love to help you, but I don't know where I'm going to stay. I just drove here from Chicago. He's like, see that hotel right there? You're going to stay right there. And he put me in the hotel for 2 months and paid me $1,000 a week, man.
Which is huge for like.
Dude, I was rolling around Hollywood talking so much shit, dude. It was crazy, man. It was one of the great moments in my life.
So, like, do you call your dad and like tell him, hey,
they couldn't believe it. Everyone thought I was lying.
Like, Gio, this is one of your lies again. You're like, no, I swear to God.
got to him.
Nobody fucking believed me. I had a manager. I got a manager, and he was supposed to like help me out financially while I was out there. As soon as I got out there, he just fucking ghosted me, man. Wow. And he didn't believe that I was with, that I had this meeting with Freddie, and he didn't believe that and 2 days later, and now I'm in the headlines, and now I'm sparring Pacquiao, and I sent him a picture. I was like, "Fuck you, dude." Yeah.
So I was the whole Manny Pacquiao thing as like a Mexican person. Obviously, he was like
the Mexicutioner,
man. And I remember, so this whole building used to be a place called El Estadio. It was a pool hall. We would fit probably like 300, 400 people in here for maybe even a little bit more. I forgot what our fire code was at that time. So whatever the fire code said it was.
Whatever.
But the big nights that we would have was boxing. So we put TVs in the middle like a stadium, like 4 TVs, like 50-inch back then. And so we would do pay-per-view fights, charge the entrance and all that. And I'll never forget like how big of a draw Pacquiao was, even for Mexican people, where even though he would beat a lot of our fighters, it was always like in the most respectful way, where like it was never like he had Mexican fans. And not just, obviously Filipino people love him. Yeah. Americans loved him, but even like Mexicans, even though the first couple of fights with Marquez, wild.
Yeah.
I was going to Mexico on a 2 a.m. flight, and we would do the fight, and it was, I think, number 4, was that the one where he got knocked?
4 fight.
So the 4th fight, I have my luggage here. There's probably 400 people in here watching the fight. And you could just see like Marquez is getting fucking beat up. His face is swollen. I got my luggage halfway out the door, and I'm like,
broken nose.
He looked bad. His cheek was swollen. And it was just another one of those nights where you're just like, Pacquiao's going to win.
He's taking over now, yeah.
And I'm already at the door waiting. I'm counting how much money we collected, because those fights were expensive. To do a pay-per-view fight at a place this size was thousands. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to have the fight. Just to have the fight. And I just would never forget, like, I'm looking at all the people that are sitting around the TVs, and it was just like the round's about to end, and you see just Pacquiao fall, but you can't really see the angle was from behind Marquez, so you can't see where the punch landed. But you just see him like face down, and you're just like,
face down,
scary.
And then they show the wife, and she's like, screaming bloody murder.
Yeah.
But I've never seen like that amount of excitement out of a group of Mexican people.
So epic.
And there's modelos, beer flying all over this place, right? You see like a mist of modelo.
It was like a silence, and then as soon as like one person let out like just the slightest little the whole place just
because it was like no one. It was so unexpected.
Yeah, it happened like and you don't really know like.
I couldn't sleep for a week after that shit, dude. Because I'm
love Manny,
love Marquez, love Manny, but Manny's a southpaw, and I started boxing because of him.
Yeah.
And my whole family was in our basement. And we had a bunch of people over, and everyone's fucking quiet. And I'm looking at everybody like, oh yeah, come on, Manny, let's fucking go. Hey, good fight, right, guys?
You shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and everyone's fucking pissed, dude. They're all like, man, fuck you. And I'm just like, and I was like, yeah, I felt something was wrong in those. It was like quiet right before it was like something unnatural was happening. And then boom, I was like, oh, I sat down in my chair and everyone jumped up.
The switch.
That was one of the coolest moments because I feel like Marquez was such a warrior, man. And he would like always give good fights. It was always great TV.
I met Marquez right before my fight got canceled with Abdullah Mason earlier last year. And I saw, Marquez is one of the guys that said that I beat Pitbull. And I was like, if Marquez said it, I'm fucking good. I don't need anybody.
You don't need the
else's
W,
opinion.
man.
If Marquez thinks I won, that's good. That's good for me.
Yeah, he does very good on TV too. Like even his takes and everything. Obviously, he's one of the best
So
Mexican
good
fighters
energy,
ever.
man. So
he
good
just seems
energy.
like he's such a good
Great aura, man.
and like pushing the sport forward.
Yeah.
Bit of a hater, but yeah.
He does talk a little shit, right? Who does he talk shit about? Canelo?
Canelo, yeah, he hates Canelo. I mean, Marquez, I have him, for me personally, people laughed at me on social media when I have a boxing podcast. I put him on my top 10, like, GOATs of all time. Or it was top 15, I think it was. And people thought it was crazy. But I mean,
Great.
And for someone who, at that time, were Mexican warriors like Morales, Barrera, had a specific style, which was come forward and throw many punches. He was a little more technical, a little more like smart. He got a lot of shit for that in the beginning. They're saying that he's not a real Mexican fighter. So he switched up his style a little bit, started getting a little more aggressive. And that's when you saw the Marquez versus Pacquiao. And that was he started switching up.
I mean,
a
that
little
whole
bit.
thing was just like such a cool time in boxing for everybody to see somebody like that. And I think then, kind of like the baton kind of got handed towards the end of there and De La Hoya's career and everything. With then you get Canelo. And have you had any experiences with Canelo out he's in San Diego a lot. Have you gotten to meet with him or?
No, I've never had the opportunity, but I'm a big fan of Canelo. He's a surgeon in the ring. I would love to meet him.
Have you heard what Buddy Crawford said about redheads?
Yeah.
What do you think about that take? Did you hear that, Eric?
No, what did he say?
So Buddy Crawford said, and they like laughed at him on this podcast. He's like,
That's
no,
funny.
well, gingers have different, like something different in their body where
Genetics.
like genetically that
Pain
they
tolerance.
can't get like knocked out, that they have a tighter jaw or they just can't get
Something
tagged.
about the gene. Yeah, I think he was saying that they have a higher pain tolerance.
And they're
ginger
laughing at
gene?
Buddy Crawford during it, and then afterwards they like searched it up, and there is something to be said for people that are redhead.
way.
I mean, imagine getting roasted every day. You gotta have high.
yeah.
pain
Especially in
tolerance.
Mexico, redhead,
Oh,
freckles
yeah.
and all that.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where his
Yeah.
family's from, literally, it's from where my dad grew up 3 blocks away, and so there's a statue of Canelo in our town right off the
That's sick,
river.
yeah.
We've gotten to meet his brothers. We've gotten to go. Eric and I went to the plant fight. Got to sit ringside. Meet Tyson was sitting right in
Get
front of
out
us.
of here. That's
Unified.
Oh yeah,
and
Eric and
all.
I were like on Showtime, like they're interviewing him. It was cool, man. It was there's the energy of Vegas and the energy of a fight night is unmatched in any sport. Eric and I have been able to go to a bunch of cool sporting events with my dad. Loves going to we were at
Game
Game
7
7 of
for
the
the
World
Cubs.
Series with the Cubbies.
Oh, really?
That was cool.
Yeah,
But like to be like the
T-Mobile Arena, dude. I felt like I arrived and it was my moment, dude. And it's really fucked up because they snubbed me on everything on that fight. Like, first of all, the poster was ridiculous. They made me look like fucking Big Bird. Like, I don't know what they
Oh no.
I don't know what they did to my neck, but I look like a freaking ostrich or something, man. I was like, damn, can you just give me a fucking fair shot to do this, please, man?
Yeah.
I had Waka Flocka walk me out, man. Waka Flocka. I go hard in the
No
motherfucking
way.
paint. And
Really?
they didn't even show it on TV. We had them rehearse. We had them come and do like a walkthrough. They didn't really explain anything to me, but they didn't show it on TV. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wait, for the Pitbull fight?
Yeah, for the Pitbull
Really?
fight.
They didn't show you walk out?
No.
What?
I had Waka Flocka walk me out, man.
How does
Waka
that happen?
Waka.
So Gio, how does that happen? How do you get Waka Flocka Flame to walk you out?
Oh man, that was a funny story. That one of my good friends, Hayes Carter. I was at this bar in Hollywood and at this place called Barney's Beanery. It's like a pretty legendary spot where a lot of people used to go. And I I hear some fucking idiot. Like, he's like doing like Jim Carrey impersonations and shit. And I'm like, I feel like I gotta talk to this guy. This is hilarious. and I turn around and I start talking to him. And he's just this fucking character, man. He's talking a lot of shit. And I tell him I'm a fighter. And he's like, dude, you have to have Waka. He just randomly throws that out there. He's like, you have to have Waka walk you out. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? He's like, yeah, man, you gotta have Waka walk you out. I was like, come on, man, you're full of shit, bro. I was like, everybody just wants to fucking yap. And
everyone knows somebody.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a connection.
He's like, no, dude, I'm calling him right now. He fucking puts him on FaceTime, and Waka answers the phone. He's like, yo, Waka, Gio's fighting T-Mobile Arena. He's fighting Pitbull Cruz. He wants you to walk him out. He's like, all right, say less. It's done. I was like, oh, shit. And then they didn't show it, man. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. I was like, how could you not show that? It raises the event.
Yeah.
They didn't want me to get any immediate attention. So, because, I'm fucking Pitbull, he's got the mental capacity of a fucking testicle. You know what I mean? This guy,
Yeah, but how do you not show? I mean,
because I know why though. Because Eminem walked out Terrence Crawford right after. I guess they didn't want two performances.
Yeah.
I was like, for the first time in my life, I'm like, can the real Slim Shady sit the fuck down? Please. My God.
Wow, damn. So I mean, and you hear about those tactics where like fighters feel
crazy.
like they were snuffed from preparation all the way to the fight.
Everything is meant to dwindle you down a little bit.
wow.
It's just little things that, because, boxing is, you want everything to be right. Everything is superstitious. But, promoters, if you're not the guy, if you're not their guy, they'll, a little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe your waters are warm. Maybe the fucking tape is not as good. Maybe you're
The room, like the change, like the
Just
warm up,
little
Little
things
mind
here and
games,
there.
yeah.
the green room. So you mentioned something we were talking about the other day. Now that you're going to Korea, that they were gonna put you in a certain hotel, and you said, "Fuck that, I'm getting my own hotel." Did you talk about that? Is there a reason why?
Yeah, James Brown, my manager, was like, fuck that, we're not doing that. I mean, you hear stories like, from guys in the 80s and 90s and shit, like, they'll send girls to your room or,
You're like, that's okay. if anybody in Korea is watching,
I'm like,
he is definitely okay with this part.
Please
But you're alluding.
tell me your room number.
But you're
I'll give him
alluding
your number.
in the 90s. Did you hear the story of?
No, but, that's what they say. Like, guys would, they'd send girls.
Did you ever hear the Jordan story?
No.
So Jordan, there's the infamous flu game. So Jordan and Pippen, the infamous, he's like holding, Pippen's like holding on to Jordan. Jordan dropped like 38 points that game. He was sick as fuck because the night before he ordered pizza. And everyone says this, and he said it too, that the pizza came and it was fucked up. Like they purposefully had spoiled stuff on it or
because he was in their hometown.
Because they were playing in Utah.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that. Like not giving them
attack.
any way to fucking.
Well, I just don't want to be like, if they're controlling things, I'm in their world. They think that they have some, whatever. They got tabs on me. It's like, dude, like I'm doing my own thing.
I actually have a question about the 10 girls that get sent to the rooms. Before fights, now, me and David were also athletes.
Yeah.
I guess, before we play Suzanne.
You know where we're going.
Before we
We've been thinking about this question for 24 hours.
In the pickleball tournaments in our local YMCA, semen retention. Is it like I've heard boxers talk about it? I'm too shy to Google it because I don't want to ruin my algo.
Yeah.
But is it a real thing? Like, do you?
I think it's just a weird fucking thing to say, semen retention.
Yeah, we could be a little harsher with it, but
it's just like abstinence, man. It's like, go to fucking imprison yourself and deny yourself your favorite things, and by the end of it, you're gonna be a fucking animal.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's just like, the alpha dog, restrained, no sex, no snacks, no food, make him hungry, make him starving. You're a fucking animal. You start to
rabid.
You start to get rabid. By the time fight night comes.
So then so that's part of your.
Yeah, it's a mental discipline.
Yeah.
It's just about that. It's about denying yourself things that you like. If you deny yourself the things that you like, your mood's gonna start to fucking shift. Try no coffee. Try, no
Oh, you lost me
alcohol.
already, bro. That's
Try,
it. I'm out.
try no sugar, no salt.
Yeah.
By the end, you're gonna start resenting everything. You're gonna start to get real pissed off, and then the one person that's responsible is that motherfucker standing on the other side of the ring. On the other guy standing on the other side of the ring, and then he's gonna take it out on
So it's
him.
a mental thing. It's just
You're the reason I haven't busted a nut. You're the reason. Yeah.
I like that though, man. That's like I mean, the amount of discipline. This whole conversation is just like the amount of discipline that it takes to do what you do.
At the elite level.
There's at his level, like there's nothing else like it that I can think of or that I've met, whether it be baseball players, basketball players,
You have
musicians.
to almost be like a monk, man. Like, and it's hard for the type of people that fighters are. We're fucking confident, brash, social, like, want to be in the limelight kind of people.
That's true. The marketing
Perfect
part,
for the party.
the marketing aspect of this, because baseball, basketball, football, you're in a team.
Yeah.
It's gonna be you and a bunch of other guys working together. Boxing, besides the training and stuff like that, obviously, you're in the ring is you versus that guy across from you, right? So it's like we talk about it being the loneliest sport, but also like the rewards that comes with that.
Like I did this. I mean, it's got to be. I mean, I think it's like when people get to watch boxing, it's such some of it's so much showmanship and so much, we're like talking to you today, man, and like hearing your story and hearing the way that you that you speak about it. It's like so much deeper, and it's so like you said the word spiritual, and it's like, yeah, man, to fucking
every ounce of your fucking will has to, because your body, if you don't treat your body right, your body will quit on you. If you don't treat your mind right, your mind will quit on you before your body does. You have to treat it right. You have to water it. You have to give it strength. And Ali was one of the greatest at doing that. People think that meditation and prayer and speaking, everybody's obsessed with manifestation, and it's like they really don't understand it. It's like you're literally programming your neurology to embody these mind states. First you have to imagine it, then you have to try to walk the walk, and then you fucking make it happen by doing that, and it's all kind of like mentalism. It's all kind of executing the game plan that you imagine, so it's like you meditate on that, you discipline yourself, you pump in emotional energy, and you're wiring your body and your mind to be able to act when fucking preparation meets timing. You know what I mean? It's like that.
Dude. I love it, man.
It's like poetic.
Manny, thank you so much for bringing Gio. I mean, you're like pumping me up.
Yeah.
Like, even I'm a little bit older than you, but honestly, the way that you,
I saw a couple of dudes outside. We could go get them.
We'll go fuck them up, right? You know what? Yeah, but no, I mean, but I think you're right. It's like doing the work, man, and not just like out of like brash necessity, or like just, but like also like the spiritual part about it, like not just doing it like just gutting your way through it, or just fucking working your like. There's a mental aspect to being the best.
I think energy is everything, and I think, it's like spiritual masters talk about this, right? That's like, when people would go to like a Buddhist master, the Buddhist master would say, I have nothing to teach you, man. Like I have nothing, there's nothing that I can tell you that's going to do it. You have to fucking believe it. You have to know it. And the only way to know it is by, facing your fear, man. You get like these butterflies in the stomach. Am I gonna lose? Am I? It's just like that's never gonna go away. And when you hit a certain level, you think that your ego, you're gonna battle it with your ego. You say, I have achieved this, therefore these feelings should not be here, and you're pushing them down, but they're never gonna go away. What made you achieve those things was not that fear didn't exist. Yeah, is like living with that fear and knowing that you're taking a risk. Be afraid. Sit in that energy, and that's the only thing that rewards you. The universe, rewards courageousness. It takes chances. We see it in evolution. Yeah, we see it in fucking moments of greatness in sports. Like you have to be afraid. If you're not afraid, then you're a fucking
it's what
fool.
You do with that fear and how you overcome it. And I think I've never spoken to a fighter. I mean, I've enjoyed talking to you a ton, Gio. This is really fucking dope. I obviously want everybody to watch April 5th. Your fight's coming up in Korea. We're gonna find it. We'll link it on the podcast, and we'll push it out there too, Gio. What's boxing? Obviously, you're only 31 years old. Mm-hmm. You got a big fight coming up. What does the next couple of years look for you? What are you trying to? What are your goals? Obviously, you talk about being a champion. What does that look like to you? Boxing only? Are you trying to do other stuff as well?
Well, yeah, I do acting. I do some stand up. You know, I've been in a couple movies. You know,
Really?
I've done some stand up. So for the Pitbull fight, I met a guy named Jay Davis, Hollywood guy. He used to, you know, run things at Laugh Factory. He's, you know, responsible for many like comedian careers and stuff. And I went to a show, and before the Pitbull fight, I actually ended up at the same New Year's party as him, and we're drinking and shit. And he thought I was gonna I was like an enforcer or something. It was weird. I was like, remember you, Jay Davis, right? I was like, you remember me, man? I was like, I'm Craig's friend. My friend Craig brought me to his show. He thought I was talking about Craig Robinson.
The comedian?
Yeah,
the comedian.
And I guess he had some kind of beef with Craig at the time, or like some kind of minor argument.
So he sends his regards.
Jay gets in his head. It's not rational at all, but he's like, this guy's from Chicago.
Yeah,
he knows Craig. He's like, I'm like, what? So he was extra nice to me that day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I was like, I love fucking comedy. I love what you guys do, man. Like the balls to get out there and have people listen to you and get a reaction and like that. It's courageous as hell, you know.
Yeah.
It's way scarier than boxing, I think. You know, like go ahead, get on fucking stage and try to make some people laugh and see how you feel.
I don't know. I'm pretty scared of getting knocked the fuck out. I mean, that's
that's painless.
Yeah, you just wake up and you're like, what happened?
Yeah, what happened? For 30 mil?
So you got, I mean, you have a bright future. You got boxing and you got.
Yeah, he let me do stand up. I've done stand up. I've opened for like fucking Matt Rife, like David
Really?
Spade, Marlon Wayans. You know, just the list, Dane Cook, the list goes on of the opportunities that I've had to do stand up at Yamashiro with them. It was all in preparation for the Pitbull fight. I was like, what? Like, I want to get ready for the press, man. So, like, what can you tell me to like help me? And he's like, dude, just come to the show. He's like, introduce me on stage and like just get in front of the people and like, you know, talk a little bit. I was like, So yeah, man, that's been like kind of my intro into comedy and acting. And you know, my manager James Brown, his wife is Danny Burnfield. She ran like, you know, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's film studio Artist Equity. Wow. And we're all kind of working on some big things, man.
That's great, man.
A TV show in Korea after this fight with the producer Agnes Lee from K-Pop Demon Hunters.
I've heard a lot about it. I have a 7 and 8 year old at home that we've not only do we watch the movie, but we listen to the music as well.
Yeah,
it's a lot of songs on Spotify. So I think that I'm just like very excited to watch you fight live. First of all, second of all, I'm just like overstimulated with how like the way that the mind of a boxer works, man. I've never spoken to one, like I said earlier, and I just think it's so interesting.
You never will like this again.
No, you know what? It's honestly, it's so hard to hear, like to get through to you guys or to hear you guys when you guys are in these press things. And obviously it's a lot of showmanship, but to like sit and like pick the mind of somebody that gets into a ring and fights for a living, man, has been a very...
Those are pretty simple minds you're trying to pick.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, how was it? It's like, I trained really good.
Well, you know what? Even when I was preparing to talk to you, it's like, you know, some of these guys are very PR like focused and they have like the PR like in your everything the opposite of what I thought. And not, I've never, no, and I think
I appreciate that.
No, and it's dope that you're from Chicago. You know, you lived here, you have a Mexican father, you grew up in Mexico for, you know, the first couple, 10 years of your life. That you fuck with Hintefina and Manny. Yep. And I think that all of that, man, and that's what we're trying to do here is give a platform to, obviously you have a platform, but to like show it off to the people that watch us or watch the music people that we bring on or the chefs. So I want to thank you for coming, Gio. We're going to keep picking your brain after this. I want to show you some stuff we have upstairs too. We'll film it off set, but we got some cool gloves. We got Canelo's gloves. We got some Muhammad Ali gloves upstairs so you can check out. But I want to get final thoughts, Manny, because this has been a very different conversation than we've had the last 10 days that have been like nonstop. Yeah. Thank you for bringing him. What thoughts do you have after this conversation?
Oh man, it's really cool to, you know, obviously, like you said, to meet somebody who's fought at that level that you fought and will continue to fight. You know, it's very curious to learn about the discipline. You see the fights, you see the glory, you see the wins, the losses. What you don't see or you'll hear about is the process behind all that. And so we really appreciate you coming in and telling your story, explaining to us how it works behind the scenes. Man, super excited for you, bro. You already know I fuck with you. David fucks with you now, bro. Whatever you need from us.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's not easy what you do, bro. And to get to where you've gotten, coming from where you come from, and to be able to say, hey, we got a local guy that's there now. Like it makes us proud, you know, to be able to be here with you, bro. And congrats on all your success.
Incredibly proud, man. And like Manny said, congratulations. Eric, do you want to say anything? Even though the one question you had was very good.
Thank you.
You want to add on to that or any final?
I mean, I think I'm as surprised in a great way where the beauty, the grace, and almost like the poetic vibe you get out of something that's so brutal in the ring, to see that part of it has been very
enlightening, right?
Enlightening. And my semen retention starts today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be a different person by 5 o'clock today.
Let's see her beating somebody beating somebody
up.
up.
Gio, any final thoughts from you, man?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me here. I've been to this place and I love this place.
Oh, thank you.
And Manny, you know, like I felt like I was in no man's land after the Abdullah fight got canceled, and I, you know, walked away from Freddie. I got kicked out of the gym for being at the protest in LA, and you know, I had to fucking figure some shit out. And out of nothing, blossomed this, you know, title fight in Korea, and I feel very, very lucky to be where I'm at. And you know, I've learned my lessons, and I've learned a lot about the business, you know, and in such a pivotal time, I was reaching out for some support, you know. And Manny, you know, thank you for, you know, helping tell my story and believing in me, and, you know, putting things like this together, because, you know, in a moment where, you know, you don't know what the fuck to do, it means a lot, you know, it does.
Appreciate you, man.
Oh man, I think it's so dope that you're able to connect with people like Gio, Manny, and again, having a Mexican American on the biggest stage fighting and repping Mexican pride and repping pro-immigration and repping our people is important. And not just when it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Being on the fucking front lines and willing to risk it all like that. Like I just got the chills. Like I fucking love that, Gio. And I appreciate you, Manny, for bringing him on. I think Eric for doing what you do behind the desk there.
The hard-hitting questions.
To our boy Tabito on the
Attention.
camera, taking some behind-the-scenes stuff. Again, Georgie, Fernanda, thank you guys. It's been a crazy last 10, 11 days of filming and getting this podcast up and running. If you don't follow Gio yet, Gio, what's the handle? Even though you're not a big influencer, even though I know you got like 30 or 40,000.
If you want to be influenced by me, follow me on Instagram, Gio Cabrera Boxing.
Follow our boy Manny, Gente Fina, Midwest Manny, Eric Papi Suarez, David A. Suarez, and then follow the podcast. We're going to keep doing stuff like this. And hopefully after your fight too, Gio, you come out, come enjoy some drinks, come enjoy the vibe here.
Bring the belt over here.
Bring the belt with you. I want to touch a real championship belt, man.
We have the victory party here.
Hey, ya dijiste. So thank you to everybody for watching another episode of Salucita. We'll see who's going to be the next guest. We'll come up with some cool stuff, and we'll talk to you guys soon. All right? Take care.
Appreciate you.